What's up, guys? Barber on the bars. No more mystery, I guess. Doing the face reveal. Don't have anything really to hide, anyways. So y'all could have found me pretty easily. Just wanted to get on here and update everybody. Bike's broken, sitting over here, getting ready to pull the motor out of it and see what's going on with it. Working on the wife's bike, doing some paint protection film, and getting it ready for her to keep enjoying chain maintenance and all that good stuff today. And that way it's supposed to be like 60 tomorrow or something, so she was asking if she could go ride when she got off work, and she's got some errands to go run, and I was like, of course, yeah, I'll make sure it's ready for you, since we're storing it in the shop for the winter time. That way it's in a temperature controlled environment, and that way we've got room for the snow blower and keep my car in the garage instead of parking it in the driveway like we have been. So lots has changed since the last video. Went in for the surgery. Surgery was good, went well. Recovery was pretty easy. Had my follow-up appointment 2 weeks after the surgery was done, and quickly thereafter, I think it was 3 days later, I woke up in AFib, and unfortunately that was one of the possible complications that came along with that procedure. Just came true, and as my wife says, I'm a special specimen, and so, 1 in 4 the hole doesn't close, 1 in 20 have complications from that, 1 in 4 have complications from the PFO closure surgery that I went through. And so here we are, dealing with AFib. I'm on a bunch of new medications, not feeling great, in and out of AFib 15, 20 times a day minimum. Fortunately, the medication is keeping the heart rate low, so it's not really miserable, but every occurrence feels like I get kicked in the chest by a horse or something. So not the greatest time ever, but it is a time, and it's just kind of what we're dealing with right now. So probably going in for another surgery soon to do what they call an ablation, and that way the AFib stops, because I don't want to be on medication for the rest of my life. I'm entirely too young for this, and kind of the topic today, or that I really wanted to bring up, is if you're dealing with some medical issues, you've really got to advocate for yourself. And very fortunate to have a wife that works in the healthcare industry, and as my cardiologist stated or told me, I have friends in high places in the medical world, and he's right, I do, and I'm very grateful for those people. It's very unfortunate that those people have to get used, or feel the need to make themselves available for that kind of thing. But it is what it is, right? Like, we just deal with it. We don't get to pick. And I went in, I had a follow-up appointment from that AFib incident earlier in December. I think it was like the second Friday of December is when I had AFib, or when I woke up in AFib. And fortunately, the old Apple Watch told me, "Hey, you're not right. You're in AFib. Seek medical attention." So I knew what was going on as soon as I woke up, which was a godsend, because I thought I was having a heart attack. My chest hurt. My heart rate was 155, I think, if I remember correctly, and it was varying from 60 to 170 at any given moment. Lots of missed heartbeats, and just didn't feel right. And so I was glad that my watch kind of quickly took that fear of a heart attack away, and I know a little bit about AFib. I've got some friends that deal with AFib, and so I was fortunate enough to know immediately what was going on. Wife came home, helped get the kids to school, and then we went to the ER, spent the day in the ER, and then went and saw my cardiologist. He prescribed me some new medication, beta blockers and more anticoagulants and heavier blood thinner. And so the medication, I think we waited 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I guess, until we went back in. And for the first couple of weeks, I didn't have another AFib episode. And then the last 3 weeks, they've slowly been becoming more and more frequent. On the other beta blocker that I was on, it was less noticeable. It was less frequent. I can't say it was less noticeable. It was less frequent. I'd have 5 to 10 a day. But my heart rate would spike up, 140, 150. And now I'm having them basically 10 plus times an hour. And that is really distracting. And so it's not as high of a heart rate. I stick around 120-ish whenever I go AFib and back now. And I see as low as 40 beats per minute pretty regularly. My new resting heart rate is 15 beats per minute lower than it used to be. So the medication's working in some aspect and not in another. But it really comes down to I'm too young. And so when I talked to the doctor last week at my follow-up for the medication just to see how things were going, talked to him about it, and he said, all right, we're going to switch you to this other medication. And I was like, okay, so what are the long-term side effects of this? Like, what are my options? And he said, you can have surgery, you can take medication, or you can do absolutely nothing. You'll be on blood thinners forever, high-dose blood thinners forever, so that you don't have a clot in your heart from the AFib, and realistically probably beta blockers and anticoagulants as well. I was like, okay, so what are the long-term side effects of such a thing, right? Like, I'm 36, I'm not 66 or 56, and that's probably the average. Somewhere in between those two numbers is probably the average age of the patients that he sees on a daily basis, which is fine. But I'm constantly having to remind them, hey, like, I am not an old patient, I'm young, and we don't really know what the long-term side effects of this medication are on somebody who will take it for 30, 40, 50 years. I'd like to think I'd see upper 80s, 90s, and he said, yeah, you're right, we don't know. We don't have that kind of study. And I will tell you, the side effects that I'm already experiencing from this medication aren't worth the lower heart rate. I'd take back the high heart rate episodes less times a day with no side effects over this in a heartbeat. And so I've got to call into them. I've been on this new pill for 5 days now, and it's not cutting down the number. It's not increasing either, but it's not cutting down the number of them. And so we have a follow-up appointment in 2 weeks, or another week, I guess, next week, and hopefully we'll get some answers there. Surgery's not really what I want to go do. I don't really want to have another surgery, another heart surgery. If I want to get off medication completely, I'm going to have another implant in my heart, which I don't really want to do. But I got a lot of friends right now dealing with their own journeys, right? Totally unrelated, much worse than me. Younger than me, my age, slightly older than me. I just lost one of my best friends last week to a terminal illness, and he went in the hospital the same day I was in the hospital for my surgery. He never went home, and he's been 6 weeks I've already been to a funeral this year. I've got another one now. I just got news that a good friend's wife is very ill, and there's really nothing that can be done for her. She's a little younger than me. We're too young to be dealing with this. I never would have guessed in my wildest dreams that in my mid-30s I'd be sitting down and talking about illnesses with my friends, giving updates. Like that's what brings us close now, is talking about what we've got going on in our lives. And what we've got going on in our lives is sickness. And that sucks. It's not where I expected to be in my mid-30s. It's not where I wanted to be in my mid-30s for sure. I thought getting healthy was the right thing, and yet here we are. Got healthy, and I'm thankful that I got healthy. I'm thankful I lost all that weight, because I can only imagine how much harder all of this would be to get through had I not taken that time. Or had I not taken that, made that effort to get fit and get in better shape, because I can only imagine what another 100 or 200, almost 300 pounds, I guess not almost 300, not almost 200 pounds, 220 more pounds would have done to the recovery process, to the stroke. Like, there's just so many things, right, that are unknown, and I'm thankful that I am in the shape that I am in, because I've recovered well and I'm handling it all fairly well. So I don't know, you've got to advocate for yourself in the medical world. If you're dealing with something, fight for yourself. Doctors, I hate to say doctors one-track mind sometimes, but they do. And so, my doctor's used to working with patients twice my age on average, and so the questions I have are not questions that they would have, and if I was their age, I wouldn't have the questions that I have either. So I can't fault them for that. I would just lay down and take it if I was in my late 50s, 60s, and I would just deal with it, right? Find the medication that works for me and move on, carry on with life. But that's not where I'm at today, and that's not where I don't want a life with medication like this to be my future. I went from taking 2 pills a day that I choose to take, not that I was forced to take just to survive, to now I take 8 pills a day, and 6 of those are just because of what I've got going on. And so I don't want that for myself. It's not cheap. It's not enjoyable. Now my life lives around medication and when I have to take it. And that's brutal. It's not, I get that it's life, but it's not what I want for my life. So we're gonna do the ablation. I don't know that we're gonna do I've got some more questions to ask about the implant. But unfortunately they uncovered some more medical stuff with me when I went in for my AFib episode, that first one. And they did a CT scan. They found some nodules in my lungs that are concerning. And so now I get to go down that road as well. And, lifelong asthmatic. I've not, I smoked for 10 years. I haven't treated myself well. I inhale a lot of chemicals and have inhaled a lot of chemicals in my life. Not thinking about when I'm going to get old. which is crazy because now, I'm constantly putting on gloves just to use soap when I work at the shop. I don't expose my body to that kind of chemical anymore. And I try to limit it as much as possible. I guess I'll probably start wearing a respirator eventually when I'm working, just to try to prolong life. But I'm getting monitored now for those nodules in my lungs. Apparently they're not large enough yet to biopsy because it's so invasive, but large enough that I have a team assigned to me into my case for this. So that's kind of an update. I made a very tough decision right before surgery to close the repair shop, and fortunately I feel okay with that decision, especially now facing everything I'm facing moving forward. It was definitely the right call, but I made that call kind of off the hip. I was the weekend before, or the Friday before surgery, I woke up and I decided that was it for the business, because I didn't want to leave my wife with that mess if something happened on the table that couldn't be recovered from. So we closed down, moved everything over to the detail shop, and I've slowly been clearing everything out, all the tools and equipment and things like that. So slowly getting my shop space back. But yeah, I'm sorry guys, I can't really make any motorcycle content right now anyways, so I figured I'd see what this did. I love this as an outlet for me, and I hope that it makes people feel like they're not the only ones going through some hard times, or whatever the case is, right? Like, lost a mentor at the end of last year, the day after Christmas. Went to his funeral, and then just a couple days later, one of my best friends passes away. And then today I got the news that one of my good friends' wives is battling for her life now. And I've got my thing going on, and I've got tons of friends that have little things. I call them little because in the grand scheme of things, I'm alive and I'm able to continue living my life normally for the most part. And I don't have an expiration date yet. And I know people that do have those now. And so it's tough. It's a tough time. We're too young, people in their mid-30s shouldn't be worrying about this stuff. And it makes you wonder why. I'm not going to get into all that, but I certainly think about it a lot. But yeah, I can't make new content on the motorcycle until I'm off of these blood thinners, or I quit being scared of bleeding out for the smallest little thing, as I continue to move forward with my new normal for right now. And the boost is down anyways, so I can't really make any content with it. I've got lots of old videos that I can do some voiceovers on, but it doesn't feel as raw, it doesn't feel as whatever. So I can sit and talk and in front of a camera like this. I'm cool with being on camera. I don't have anything to hide. I can do a video like this, and while I'm working and talking, I've got mics I can put on, and that way I don't have to be looking at the camera or looking at, to maintain audio levels. Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear some feedback. If you made it this far, thank you. I didn't expect it to be a very long video, but as I just kind of sit here and ramble, it feels good. And so thank you if you did make it this far, for allowing me to chew on your ear for a little bit. I've been doing it a lot to people that are close to me. And I know I'm not a burden, but oftentimes feel that way, you know. And so it's cool to have an outlet that I can turn to. Nobody watches it, that's great too. But it allowed me to sit down and talk and think kind of on the cuff. Obviously there's no cuts in this. I'll edit the beginning of the video while I was setting things up and edit the end as I move around to turn off the camera. So thank you guys. If you're going through something, need prayers, shoot me an email, leave a comment. You're not alone, even if it feels lonely. You're not. And advocate for yourselves, because nobody else cares as much as you do about yourself and your well-being long term. So take the time to do the research on the things and advocate. Be your own best advocate, because it's the only way we're gonna get through it. So thank you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Let me know what you think about this style of content, and we'll either keep moving on it or we'll kill it. But I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Thank you guys.